Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 27 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings and Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies/co-hosts, Noah and Thomas. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings and Cardboard. Guys, how have things been since the last time we talked? I know how things have been going for you, Noah.
Relax. things have been great, right? Like,
So
we played at the RTN on
RTN
Saturday.
Atlanta, so it's an Atlanta
Yeah.
RTN. We had some
Duluth.
people show up to kind of try to spike us from Alabama,
Mhm.
including the incredible Josh Law and a couple others. I know our buddy Austin was there too, and he almost got top 8. But it was a very challenging RTN.
Oh yeah, we talk about this a lot, but and I'm sure other metas and other locations are as aggressive with these top tier players. I mean, I'm sure somebody out there has Brody at their local armory. You know what I mean? So I can understand, like, oh, here it comes, it's Brody again. You know, so having the card guys come down and all the other top talent, we in Atlanta we play at a pretty competitive level. I mean, it is a very competitive scene. It's not easy. Armories are hard, which is good. And RTNs are hard, which is really good. You want that. You really want that that competition. But yeah,
if you have aspirations of being a good player, then definitely that's what you need.
We played at the RTN. Are we going right into it? Should I just send it?
I
Go
think
for
you
it,
should,
man.
because even though I think I had a better record, right? I think yours was really interesting because it was jank, and you showed up and your jank was like very successful, and that's really cool.
So I think it's got legs, maybe. Well, it depends. It has some really bad matchups, but I was worried about what I was going to play in the RTN. I wasn't experienced enough with Azalea, even though I really like the deck. I did not want to play original Dory. I don't know why. And so I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm bringing hatchets. Like, I own my cold foil hatchets. I said, what deck list could I realistically put together without commanding like performance or shift, whatever cards I may be missing. I was just like, what can I put together? I opened my third Blade Flurry, which like sold the whole thing. I had a box of Everfest, and I said, I've got all the Blade Runners right there. I said, let's just go for it. And then somebody helped me out with my hit and runs. But I said, you know what, let's do it. So I sent it. I played Hatchet Story. And I ended up top 8ing. I was 4-1 in Swiss, 4-0 going into my last round playing for top seed. I locked it in when I went the 4-0. And we'll talk about what happened in top 8 because it was a rematch. But first round I played against KO. Pretty simple matchup. He didn't do anything super wide. I don't think the player was the most experienced on the deck. There's a lot of awkward turns. A lot of over blocking. I think that you probably shouldn't do against hatchets. You're kind of just giving me what I want. If I take cards out of your hand and you're KO and you're not throwing anything big at me, then I just have 0. I don't have to respect your turns at all. And in most cases, I can just cover up the damage with 1 or 2 cards plus Dynamo. Leak a little bit if I have to, play the life game. I'm running a pretty defensive deck. I have Oasis and Heart. And Findles if it's in. It wasn't in on that matchup, so I have ways of doing the whole life exchange and sort of gaining life, which I did gain some life in that matchup. So it played pretty much to where I wanted. I fatigued the KO. It was to a time where he had like 2-3 cards left in deck. There was nothing he could do. So it was a pretty textbook win.
Was it a kind of very Wild Ride focused KO? Did he do a lot of draw discards, or did he just have like the 3 red Wild Rides, 3 red Bear Fangs?
You know, I think it was just a regular basic, Wild Ride was there. I know a couple of times he ended up having to discard it off the Bear Fangs, which is kind of lucky for me. But sometimes the hands were so dead that it was because of the blocking, that he was just throwing like agiles at me, which is really weird. You know what I mean? So that's why when you start seeing the play pattern and you know your opponent's being overly blocked, over blocking.
Yeah, you just commit to fatiguing him.
You just fatigue him. And so it was on paper I was going to fatigue him well before anything mattered. And so then I just leaked towards the end to keep threatening cards until I spill blooded, and he had no armor left to block it, which is pretty much how I play. I play by pitching spill blood late game.
And spill blood gives dominate to your axis.
+2 in so for 1 cost it gives Axis turn game +2 in dominate. And so
Good
I can
finisher.
upwards of 3 swing
Mhm.
if I have the correct resources and the go again. And so I can pretty much 3 swing you out to dominate, and there's nothing you can do about it usually. That's my game winner. You're gonna leak from the axes because you don't want to block them anyway. You shouldn't block them. Because I don't care if you block them. In fact, I want you to block them. That this isn't like some weird Dory game where all the reprise is active.
Like this is a psyop.
I want you to block this deck. That's my favorite part. When you start blocking, I'm like, man, this is great. Because I'm just gonna give it a go again and reset Dynamo and call it a day. So first game, solid. Second game, they pulled me on camera. It was a Warrior v Warrior. I had to play Josh Lau, and I was a little nervous. Shout outs.
He
Kyle,
is
thank you.
the warrior guru.
Great job.
For people who don't know him.
You gotta understand, I've had like coaching sessions with this guy. I love talking to him in DMs. He's a great mind to pick. We talk about story and we talk about, I try and tell him, hey, like, don't overthink the meta, just go play it, have a good time. He went really, we talked before US Nats. We were talking a little bit about what he should play in PTLA. And so I was really nervous. I was like, this guy's on Dory. I don't necessarily know how I'm going to do against this. Dawnblade is a really formidable weapon. And he's also really good. And so this was like a dream match. I've always wanted to play against him. So he sits down on Bolton, and I wasn't ready for that either. And so I was like, oh man. I was like, so he's on combo Bolton, which I'm super inexperienced against. And
Specifically
we'll get to that.
Using the new hot streak as part of the tech to make the combo turn more consistent.
And so hot streak doesn't necessarily do anything against Dorothea whatsoever. I do have 3 CNCs, but I try not to block with them. And so we played it out on stream, and it was really funny because I totally did not talk about the deck at all. I don't think he had any idea. So I just set my stack of equipment and I flipped up hatches, and he just goes, uh-oh. I was like, yeah, it's not Dawnblade. So and then after the game 2, I was like, I know you like to have those honorable warrior duels. I was like, I'm so glad you weren't on Dorinthia, because I couldn't give you a Dawnblade duel if you asked for it. Like, I couldn't do it. I would have if I could. So that game was pretty oppressive for him. The hands he drew were bad. He didn't have a very good charge turns. I was at a very commanding life lead. I threw some 3 attack turns that ended with CNC where he had to protect the arsenal. He was going for a triple Lumina. It never went. By the time he went for the double Lumina, he only had 3 cards in soul, so he could only swing 3 times, and he was kind of just forced to concede because the game just went out of hand. I think the hatchets really caught him off. I think the game plan was a little sort of like he was making it up as he was going, and it just the cards didn't add up. I mean, he had some really awkward turns where he was pitching reds and pretty much doing like 1 swing and passing. So like, I know there was some rough things happening while he was trying to set this triple Lumina up. So that was a decently sound victory. I played a Kano the next match, which I run AB3 to Oasis. So I was and 3 taken on the chin. So I was literally waiting for this. I wanted every Kano in the lobby. There wasn't a way. So as soon as I got 1 Oasis in Arsenal and 1 Oasis in hand, hold on, we'll get there. We'll get there. But it's a little different because I run more blues. So I don't necessarily throw damage like another deck does. So I was purposely IP penaltying myself the entire time holding an Oasis in Arsenal and an Oasis in hand, and I would just pitch reds, hold a blue, and I would swing for 2 because Kano cannot beat me if I don't give him the opening. And I know that's it's kind of scummy, but I ended up pretty much locking it out because he had to go for the combo. I was at 17 life. He's like, you're at 17. I was like, yeah, still at 17. And he had pretty much forced the combo out, and I perfectly AB'd the Aether Flares.
Yeah, he's like, I remember it was Aether Wildfire for 0, Aether Wildfire for 0, and then he's like at the end, I Blazing Aether you for 0.
For 0.
Or 0 damage done on my combo turn.
So
supposedly he missed a card draw during that game.
Yes,
too, though,
he
right?
did.
Like, ragamuffins.
It never mattered unless Noah had a red in hand, but Noah had a blue in hand.
A
red in hand, it was close.
We had a weird debacle because he overpitched to the Kano, but he had extra resources floating, so he couldn't have overpitched. It was pointed out, so we had to revert the game state. when we reverted the game state and the time was ticking down, I was trying to tell him, dude, take your time, because like I don't care. He was on our podcast before, Justin Evans. She's an amazing gentleman. Like, this such a genuine soul, and we're gonna get to why this is just so exciting at the end of all of this. But like, I love the guy with all my heart, and so I was like, dude, please take your time. Like,
it's literally the last turn. We can even go to time, and by the rules of timeout, you get to finish the game.
Exactly. Like, so I was like, just. But you know, with all the taxing the thought, so yeah, he doesn't draw for the ragamuffin. It doesn't necessarily matter because of where the life totals are, but it is still a misplay. You want to be able to play it out correctly and stuff. So I know that really got to him. I ended up winning that game, and then I played a Raiden Bolton my next game, which everybody was walking by like, oh, that's easy. I had lost to Raiden Bolton on Talishar every time I played it. The deck plays completely different than Combo Bolton, and it's in fact way harder. Raiden Bolton gets to do wide turns whenever it wants to. It's not predicated off of Lumina, but when Lumina does come in, it becomes even worse. And so I get hit with Celestial Cataclysms off of these charge. There's a way to craft a Celestial Cataclysm turn and then start swinging with Lumina.
Multiple bolting blades.
Way too wide to block all of it. And so I will eventually have a turn where you will force the cards out of my hand if I'm trying to block for value, and you're going to hit me hard. It is not the same as Combo Bolton, which is usually throwing absolutely nothing and playing this turtle fashion, where I'm also kind of playing turtle, but the Raiden Bolton is scarier. He walloped me in the early game. Played all 3 Luminas out, was getting big leak damage. I was like, man, I was down at least 25 life from the first 4 turns. And I'm a 9-12 D-React deck with Oasis and life gain. Like, this shouldn't be happening. But par for the course, once you've expanded all of your Luminas and I no longer have any threats, I fatigued you, and I fatigued him straight up. Wow. I played back from the life. I gained so much life with Oasis and Heart, and I straight up fatigued the deck.
He couldn't set up some fat Beacon of Victory kill.
I don't know where the beacons were. I don't know. I think a couple of beacons went early to fish the Luminas out. So like, I feel like the game plan may have been a little off, but if you've never played against hatchets, you're not necessarily expecting this kind of a deck. So it kind of worked in my favor that I think it was more inexperienced than anything against the matchup rather than the actual piloting of the deck. I thought he played it well. I just don't think that the overall game plan worked out in the end. And then obviously, if you're blocking cards, we've talked about this, I want you to block. So it just came to a point where he had no threat. And if you have no threat, then you'll never beat me.
Yeah. So Raiden Bolton like kind of sits in this weird place where his weapon isn't card neutral. You lose a card to play the Raiden, right? Because you have to charge to throw it. So you're very susceptible to fatigue.
Let me tell you, I could not get rid of his courage tokens for forever. He was on a perfect courage cycle the entire. I could not block the weapon to stop the courage gain for like the first 5. It was actually starting to tilt me. I was like, I cannot get you off this courage, and I need to. I was like, I'm so tired of the weapon coming in for 4, because if I don't reset dynamos, it's a awful break point for me to try and block. And on most of these turns, I'm giving up my whole hand. I'm not resetting dynamos. So it was rough, but we ended up getting there. And then I played against another Bolton, this time another Combo Bolton for top seed when we were both 4-0. And I got triple Lumined at 26 health when it started. And I died. I had enough D-Reacts and an Oasis and Arsenal to survive it, but I had a crown that I submitted to the original block that I had already said I was going to crown out of Arsenal. So I crowned the Oasis away. And in hindsight, I should have kept the Oasis and crowned the Blade Flurry out of my hand, and then pitched whatever I got, hoping it was a blue, to play both the Red Shunt and the Oasis, and I would have been able to live. I don't necessarily know if that at all fixes the outcome, because I probably would have been at like 1 or 2 life, and it would have been really, really hard, especially if he doesn't mill all the beacons or the Blade Flurries, and I'll just get hit at some point down the road. But I learned something from that game, especially about the life total, and it mattered, because I went into top 8 and I played Josh Lau again at a rematch. And so I was like, oh, here we go again.
And at this point in the tournament, you have 100% win rate into Josh Lau, right?
Yeah, at this point
this is also technically your 5th Bolton match of the day, right?
Bolton,
or 4th?
Bolton, 4th Bolton match.
4th Bolton match of the day.
And so I was like, okay, I learned a little bit. I was like, I need to be at a higher life total. And so when Josh triple luminated me, I was at 35. I survived the triple lumina, which is actually insane. They were all coming in for 5 damage apiece. He swung 8 times total, and I still survived it.
Well, triple lumina should be 6 each, right? Plus the blade starts at 3, and you get +1 for each lumina.
Yeah, no, blade starts at 2. Neither one of those. It's Centauri and Hot Streak. They're both 2 base.
I'm thinking of Raiden for some reason. Yeah, you're right. So 5 each.
So 5 each. The thing, and it was perfect. I was like, okay, I got the life for this time. So then I get my life, and then he eventually Beacon of victories me for every single card in Soul, which was like 900 at that time, and then he kills me. And so I go, well, dang, like I survived it, but like something's missing. And then Justin pulls me aside and he goes, you gotta leak the damage, just 1 or 2 to make him mill the cards. So he mills the Beacon, and I was like, he would have milled the Beacon because it was in his next 2 hands, and he would have milled at least 3 or 6 more cards had I not full blocked out. So I learned something again. So it was a wonderful loss because I went there solely to have a good time. I had the most amazing time I've ever had playing Flesh and Blood. I played a deck I really wanted to play. I played a deck that was fun for me to play, and I learned so much about it. And I lost to an amazing opponent. And so like I couldn't even be more upset. I mean, it was a wonderful day. It was a wonderful run, and like you're not losing if you're learning.
And it wasn't like a blowout or anything. It was a game that you could have won with a proper knowledge check, right? If you
had I exhausted the Beacon, although I'm still at 5 life, all threat density outside of Blade Flurries are gone, and he's got what 12, 13 cards in deck. We are in another fatigue scenario where I recycle hearts and oases and at least heart and gain life, and come back and clutch it up, because I can literally block 2 cards, usually swing 2, whatever, and play it out to the point where he's either going to be leaking damage to keep his last blues, and he's just on sword swings, which is what I wanted to get to. So it was definitely feasible to win, but a little more knowledge against the matchup, and the deck could probably use some tweaking. Well, but we'll get to that. But Hatchet's story, it was so much fun. Had the time
That's
of
so
my
cool
life.
to hit top 8. It was I can't remember the full lineup there. There's only 1 Prism that I know of, right? I think there were 2 Kanos, a ton of KOs and Kasais.
I thought there were 2 Prisms. But there might have only ended up being 1. But
a ton of Boltons.
But there was a lot of Boltons.
General meta, right? Not the top.
Meta.
I'm talking about the general meta. There's like, because you think of, was your deck like a good choice to the meta? And I actually think it really was, like, really good.
There were no Dromais, which was the one thing I was really, really worried about. Like, but there wasn't a single Dromai. And so I was like, whoa, I was like, this is crazy. Because as long as I don't hit a Dromai.
I don't think there were a lot of Bravos either, which
there was Victors. I wanted
there were
the Victors. Though.
I think the Victors you're fine, because I think the one thing that you can kind of get messed up on is getting dominated, like dominate rolled. Even though you have a bunch of D-reacts, even though you have those,
if they're not there, it definitely matters. But I thought it was just such a fun experience. I so happy that I chose to play it, because I had so much more fun than I would have had trying to like slog through Dawnblade games. I had, again, the time of my life. Everybody made it so much more enjoyable. We all had a great time, and the story only gets better from here. I know it's crazy, but it really only gets better from here.
So I went in with Levia, big surprise. You could almost brand me with Levia like you can Noah with Dorinthia.
Getting to that point, less dash, more like, Levia at this point.
I just like characters that banish things, right? I like my mechanologists, I like my shadow brutes.
Yeah.
So my list is shared on the Mansant Discord, so it's pretty easy to find. But it's very similar to Mansant's 20k list, with some upgrades from heavy hitters and some balancing of the red, yellow, blue balance. But my first round was Kasai. It was not close. I think I had my opponent tilted, because it was kind of one of those, all right, Blood Rush Fellow, all right, Blood Rush Fellow, all right, 3-card 12, all right, Art of War, Banishing Slithering Shadow P, just haymakers. Nothing like super high rolly. I didn't get like any like crazy like 20+ damage turns. But,
Art of War, Slithering Shadow Pete's pretty.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say high roll.
That's kind of high roll.
Art of War, Slithering Shadow Pete is usually just a 3-card 12 with an arsenal reset. It's not
just
as
a
big.
3-card 12.
Yes. So it's the
Three-
same. It's
most
with an
people
arsenal.
can't.
Okay, hold on,
Most people
hold
can't
on,
get the
hold on,
12
hold on,
with
hold on,
4 cards.
Hold on. Yes, I get that. That's why Levia is good, right? Because I have
But-
so many 3-card 12s in my deck. My deck is just full of 3-card 12s. Anyway,
Big value.
so the Kasai wasn't very close. Kind of a roll. My round 2 was against I think it's our one of our armory guys on Arachne is Trevor. I think Trevor's his name.
Trevor.
Yeah.
So it was against Trevor, and man, I had to go in the tank near the end because like he's banishing my cards, so I'm getting really low on cards, and I'm setting up for a big consume flip, and we're going into like the end, and I think we only have like 3 minutes left, and I am just in the tank, counting my deck over and over again, trying to remember exactly what I pitched, thinking about the life total difference that we're about to go into. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Trevor. If we actually go to time, I'm just going to concede on the spot because I just took like an 8-minute turn. And so I finally commit to the consume flip to it, draw exactly the cards I thought I was going to draw. I'm like, I've got it. And then I realized, oh no, I needed one more card in my deck just to have a card there for Tear Limb from Limb. And I was like, no, wait, I still have it. All I have to do is get down to the one Deadwood Rumbler in my hand. And then when I play the Tear Limb from Limb, it'll just get discarded automatically. So I'll still have it. And then you play Surgical Extraction. And I'm just like, I needed my whole hand to make this work. And he rips the card out of my hand, and I'm looking, and I'm just like, wait, I still got it. So I managed, so I just took a slightly different line where
Convulsions?
I used Convulsions from the Bellows of Hell and that kind of stuff, and wore him down, and finally just hit him for Exacxies on basically what was going to be my last turn with a barraging beatdown Writhing Beast Hulk, I believe. So I wore him down with the Convulsions into a 1 cost, and then barraging beatdown into Writhing Beast Hulk. Bolton, I lost a match to Bolton. It was a Raiden Bolton. I totally punted. It was an embarrassing punt. I had this hand with a Shade and Death Hydra in hand, I think a Beast Within. No, it's a Shade and Death Hydra in my Banish Zone. 3 blues and a Beast Within. And I had an Agility token and a Might token. And I'm like, this is done. I got full tempo. There's no way I could lose. No blocks. And then we get to the next turn and be like, oh, I can't play Shade and Death Hydra. I will die. My life total is too low. I messed up. All I had to do was block with the Beast Within, and I could have Shade and Death Hydra into Claw instead and still taken full tempo. But I was greedy. I was seeing red. I was like, I had it. I lost that. Total punt. Don't know 100% sure if I'd win after that, but I think throwing 14 into 3 usually gets it there when we're in that end game trade.
That's a hefty amount.
And then round 4 was Victor. That's on camera. I think we talked about it. He made this big misplay where he could have thrown 21 damage in 1 turn. He had like a E-strike into Zealous Belting into some other attack. I can't remember exactly which attack, but he like, as soon as he did, he's like, oh, I messed up. But after that, I obliterated him. Like, it was just, it's like, it just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, resolved a Doomsday, had Blasphemous just chilling there, hitting him in the face, and being, once you resolve a Doomsday against someone, if it stays for more than a turn or 2, you're getting up to 1 card 18s.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't let Blasphemous stay.
Round 5 was Victor against Zach, our buddy Zach. And it was a close match, but I managed to lock that out with a Consume flip into Barraging Beatdown with a Might token on a Writhing Beast Hulk, which is one of my favorite ways to finish the game. +3, push the Writhing Beast Hulk to 9. You can't block it with 2 cards. He had no arsenal, so come through for lethal.
Doesn't Writhing come in for 10 with the Might token?
With the Might token and the Barraging Beatdown comes in for 9. So it's a 9. 6 + 1 + 2. All right. Locked in my top 8. I had to win that last one to be sure top 8 because my loss was on round 3, so I had to win the rest of my games with the number of people we had. And I did. Round 1, we look at the brackets and I'm like, oh man, I'm against this Prism. Oh. I was just so upset. And we go into it and it's looking okay. I have the blocks. I mean, I have the Shade and Death Hydra turn 1. I had the Shade and Death Hydra turn 2. Guaranteed pops. Don't have to throw multiple cards into it. There's nothing you could do. It's 13 points.
It's 13.
So things are looking pretty good. And then I throw some damage at him. He goes, no blocks. And I'm like, well, here we go. And he goes, at the end of your turn, I'm going to break Halo, put out Angel of Erudition, Tome of Divinity, lay out this huge plethora of cards. And I'm just like, by the way, he played out, I think he pitched like 4 cards and still went into his turn with like a 3-card hand. So I was just like, ooh, man. Oh no, I'm going to lose my invite because I'm getting maximum high roll. And I'm just like, no, I just needed to get through this. And so I'm like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be disciplined and just grind it out. I'm not supposed to just try to ignore them and push through damage because you will never make it. And so I just started grinding it out, started rolling scabs. I was consistently only getting 1 action point. So I was just, okay, we'll go again when I have it and throw claw into the other thing and just keep working at it. And I've grounded out most of the way. We do get to a point where I have to ignore a Merciful Retribution and a Genesis. That sounds like Bad News Bears, right? Because like Merciful Retribution's pinging you for 1. He's getting constant soul. The Genesis is creating 1 spectral token a turn, getting even more soul. It's like really, really bad. But I chose the right position to pivot because he finally said, okay, I'm running out of gas. Time to go to 1. And he goes to 1. He knows I don't have any reckless swings left. He goes to 1. And we're going down into it, and I swing at him, and he's like, crap. Oh, no, what did I do? I played a barraging beatdown, which is like the best thing you could do against these people who like to rely on instants. He's like, crap, what is this barraging beatdown going to have behind it? And he goes, let me think. And then like 2 minutes later, he's like, all right, ALS, Arclight Sentinel, which is the one that will steal your turn. And I'm like, okay. I've already used my gambler's gloves. I'm on naked scabs at this point, and I have a couple options. I can throw my Writhing Beast Hulk, my last Writhing Beast Hulk, into a barraging beatdown, into this ALS and lose it, but I'll turn off Blood Debt. And by the way, I'm not consumed. I am just normal Levia, and I'm also at 12 Blood Debt. I cannot flip.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And so I'm like, or I can roll scabs. And if I get 1 action point, I just go with the first plan of throwing it into the ALS and trying to win the game from there. But if I get a 1, I lose on the spot. If I get a 2, I win on the spot because he used his whole hand to play ALS. And I go, fuck, I was about to say the word. I go, YOLO scabs. And I throw it, and it hits a 6, and I'm just like, let's go.
Brute gaming.
There we go.
Okay.
Brute gaming, baby.
Brute gaming. I mean,
we live by the dice. Dude, we die by the dice. But
okay.
It's so good.
A lot of people see that.
No.
No, scabs is like my thing to get the out, right? Every other class in the entire game loses there.
100%. Let's be real. You play to win, right? That's playing to an out. Scab skins is a risk out, but it's an out. It's probably the only out
1 in
that
6
wins
chance
that game.
to lose. 2 in 6 chance to continue the status quo, 3 in 6 chance, 50% chance to just win on the spot.
Right. 4, 5, or 6. No, I think the odds are fine. I think it's correct. You play to win. You're not playing to draw. We're not. Yeah.
Now that was a close game. The next game was not close. I got revenge. I got revenge for Noah. I played against Josh Law, and
on camera again.
On camera, so it'll be posted later. I don't think I've high rolled anyone on paper harder.
It was disgusting. Ooh. Yeah, it was a brutal game.
You want to know a really good way to beat Levia? You just block out until she runs out of graveyard. Unless I high roll super hard and just keep getting the perfect balance of cards and still keep tempo. There's one point where I made a really critical decision point to keep applying pressure to the arsenal. Because I think I did draw all 3 of my Command and Conquers really early and my Send Packing. So I was just like, Command and Conquer, Command and Conquer, Command and Conquer, Send Packing. I'm getting that beacon of victory out of your arsenal. And I did finally get it.
It was so good.
I had one that I think I looked at my graveyard. I had 5 cards left. I had 2 Blood Debt. And I'm like, okay, I could throw a Hungering Slaughter Beast for 6, or I could throw the Command and Conquer for 6 and take 2 Blood Debt. And I was like, we throw the Command and Conquer. We take the 2 Blood Debt. And it turned out just to be critical because later in the game, I had this like really heavy banish turn where I would never been able to do that. And then this is spoilers for when we do watch the video. I had the wildest Blood Rush Bellow into Art of War Slithering Shadowpede ever. I played the Blood Rush Bellow and I drew the Art of War Slithering Shadowpede. So I played the Blood Rush Bellow And he goes, all right, here we go again. Because I think this is my third one at this point. And then I draw and I go, uh-oh. And I play the Art of War and he goes, that's bad. And I choose banish and go again. And I banish the Slitting Shadowpeed. And he's like, that's really bad. And so I think that I got to do, that was not even the first Art of War that turn. That was my second Art of War.
It was a second Art of War that turn. It was a double Art of War.
So I had a +1. I had a +1 floating on the Art of War as well. So it was,
wow.
It was 9 into 5 into 5 into 9. And I put a Boneyard Marauder in Arsenal.
It was a 28 damage turn with Arsenal. It was disgusting. It was probably the most disgusting thing I've ever seen played out. It was so brutal.
Not only that, it was how many card stuff? I actually went card positive into the graveyard from that play. So it was just
crazy.
And then I faced Justin Evans in the final. He gets there as Kano all the way to the finals. I come in and I have purposely teched my deck against him. He was telling me I will never let you know when I'm playing again. He was getting mad, kind of like playfully mad at me. And I'm just like, it's going to be fine, man. Just come on. This will be a great game. I'm sure you'll do fine. It's not that hard to get over Spell Void 4 AB3. It's tough, but you can do it.
It's not that hard. Let me tell you guys, he was watching the game the whole time, and we were talking, and he was like, I can't believe he brought he's like, I don't know how I'm going to win. I kept telling Justin, I was like, let's think it over. Like, come on, you can do this. You can do this. So this is already a really fun game.
He comes into it a little tilted, and I try to it doesn't matter who wins here. Just because we got to the finals, we're both winning. Like, because I think like his storyline, he might have even talked about it when we had him on. He's serially second place at these PQs and RTNs.
He calls himself the bridesmaid. He's always in second.
So we sit down and I've got Spell Void 4, AB3, and the dude just proceeds to high roll the crap out of me. Every Kano check is a red card. And he's just zapping me the whole game, and I'm pitching some to it, but once I start pushing in, I got to keep the blood debt paid off, and it's just so hard to maintain graveyard against Kano. And it's just crazy, just going and going and going. And then we get to the end. I literally have 2 cards in graveyard. I'm like, the game is over. I draw my hand and go, wait, the game's not over, because I drew Art of War. I'm like, this game is still on. And by the way, he's like at that range where I could swing at him for lethal. There was one point where he was at 29. I'm at 21. He starts at 30. I start at 40. I'm getting spanked. And so I play the Art of War and I call my modes and I go, let's go. And he goes, yes, let's go. And he goes in and he starts playing it out and plays everything out perfectly. Also gets lucky still, but let's combine lucky and good together. I don't want to just say that it was just luck that got him the win, but he just, I didn't have Spell Void 4 at this point either. He'd already blasted through it with a giant Aether Wildfire turn. He'd already done one giant Aether Wildfire turn. Yep. So I survived that one, and then he hits me with another one right at the end. And I don't think anything saved me. I think even at that HP, if I still had the Spell Void 4, I'm dead.
Yeah, the 2 flips were just pertinent for him. They were 2 of the best flips he could have hit. It was
Aether Wildfire and Aether Flare. He absolutely destroyed me. So,
but kudos.
There's no amount of gear you could bring in to make Kano free. He could still get you sometimes. He's just got to get a little bit lucky and manage to like keep your head on your shoulders, block when you should, check the top of your deck when you should. It was a great game. I'm excited for people to see it when it does get published.
Big shout outs, Justin. Like, congratulations on winning. But what an amazing RTN. I mean, and just everybody that showed up, and everybody was having a really good time. The pricing was great. They rolled out a bunch of boxes and stuff for people. It was
they gave away like
such
8
a
boxes.
good time. They gave away 2 cases worth of boxes, and they asked everybody ahead of time if they wanted to do surprising for top 8 or just random it out. And even everybody that was pretty much going to get top 8, we all said just random it out. I mean, it's so much better that way.
Level up. Shout out to them. They have this whole year they have completely flipped on like doing this awesome pricing.
The big shout out, Level Up. You guys like took the cake there with the prize.
It's super sweet. I think the Alabama group that drove down walked away with 4 boxes. So
they were super,
yeah.
They were so excited. Yeah.
So that's a way to get people to come back. Like they remember, yeah,
Absolutely.
this place has awesome pricing. I will drive 3 hours to participate in this tournament. It is worth it.
Donnie, still share your experience just because you're not.
Just because you didn't make
with
top
us.
8,
Oh,
I'm sure there's some
I don't know
lessons
if we want
learned.
to talk about my experience, guys.
Oh,
I did everything y'all experienced with your epic high rolls. I was on the other side of all day. That was my RTN experience. I got that same Kano. I faced Justin Evans in round 1, and I was playing Katsu. My very first turn was Art of War into Ancestral Harmony into Kadachi Pass.
Oh. No, not like that.
Yep, game was over on turn 0 because I could
Yeah.
not put any pressure out, and yeah, I just
And
got
you
high
only
rolled
roll
all the
AB1
crap.
in that list, right?
No, I was running AB2.
Okay.
I was respecting Kano, but my plan was to apply pressure and get him low enough to where I could just, barely cover up whatever I needed to and kill him. That didn't happen. So I got paired into one of the 2 Kanos in round 1. Lost that, was not even remotely close. He might say that it looked close because he did get down to 3, but it's because he allowed himself to go to 3 while he was
Right.
taking his time setting up. You know how that goes with Kano.
Yeah.
100%.
Round two, I get the other Kano. The other Kano had lost in round 1. So out of 32 players, 2 of them are on Kano. Donnie gets the first one in round 1 and the second one in round 2.
Jem didn't
That's just
Jem
Jem.
didn't have your back to that day, man.
No, I won that one. I actually did win that one. I was able to apply that pressure that I needed to, and we got there in the end. It was actually a really good game. Round 3, I played against a defensive dash, one of a turtle dash build, and I got my very first triple bonds turn, so that was pretty cool. But then the last 2 rounds, they were not games. My 4th round was against local in-boss Andrew Lorenz, and he was playing Bravo.
Yeah.
And I think he might have had 1 turn where he did not dominate a Crippling Crush, Starstruck, or Spinal Crush.
That is
I
a
didn't get to
hard
play the game.
match. That's a hard match.
I usually
Especially
feel
when
okay
that's
in the
coming
Bravo.
out.
If they
When I'm
especially
not
if they
being
see the
high rolled.
Starstrucks, especially if they see the Starstrucks pretty quick, it's hard to win.
Yeah, it was not a game. It was a non-game. I was not even remotely close to in it. I think he might have been over 30 life when the game ended. It was rude. Then round 5, I found a KO that did the exact same thing without dominate. Blood Rush every other turn, cast Bones when he wasn't casting Blood Rush, and then the very last turn he did cast Bones into a Blood Rush, and yeah, I was just, what am I gonna do? It wasn't my day to play Flesh and Blood. So
yeah, the only way you
the games that I had a
through-
chance.
The only way you'd
Yeah,
live through that
I've-
high roll is if you got if you were running Flick Flacks and had those in your deck and got
I did,
them. Yeah.
but
That's what I'm saying.
Nope.
Even if you have the D-Rex in a Bravo, like if you don't draw them, you
Oh.
don't draw them. You know
no,
what I
I'm
mean?
just talking about KO. Flick Flack is
KO.
crazy
Yeah.
against KO.
Flick Flack's
That's
really
pretty
good
good.
against KO.
when you draw them
Yeah,
at
you
the
draw
correct
them.
time. But you can't draw your Flick Flacks and still present comparable damage. I mean, you can't do both.
You could do
So like I said, it wasn't my day.
you can do like a Flick Flack, block 1 extra card, block a card with the next card, and then just Kadachi, right?
That's about it.
I think that's what you're
Yeah,
supposed to
you're
do in this
and then-
case.
defending
and
against
then
another
you're-
16.
Yeah, and then you're re-arsenaling, but then the problem, so the thing is that KO has these intervals where he has to reset up,
Mm-hmm.
and so KO will play the 5-card hand out, have no mites and no agility, and then have to figure out how to create the might and agility to create the wider turn, but he wants to do that on 5 cards, so you can kind of you Kadachi, but he's on a 4-card hand, so
He
he probably
really-
throws 1 card.
He
And then
really
you know.
wants to play around Tunic turns.
Yeah.
So you just watch the Tunic. But sometimes it's just brute. Sometimes they just high roll the heck out of you.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean that's what
Chaos
happened.
got big
That
numbers.
was my day.
Did he roll
The games
scabs?
that I don't recall him ever rolling any 6s, but he did roll once or twice. It was
If he
was
rolled
not
and got,
close.
I don't think he could actually even use a 6 because he doesn't have the second claw.
My-
So he just needs
yeah.
2.
Well,
So if he ever got rolled and got 2 action points on top of hitting the Blood Rush Spell as fast,
at
you
least
just got
once or twice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. The games that I was able to actually play the game, I did okay. The games where it was just doomed from the start, it was literally just doomed from the start. I ended the day at 2 and 3, and my elo is going to be abysmal for the foreseeable future because I don't have another opportunity to play in an RTN until next year. I'm not going to get another chance to play at an event like that until PQ season. So what I've got is what I got.
Well, you mentioned wanting to learn Levia, and then you'll have Flesh Bag and Husk. And those high rolls can't happen to you anymore.
Yeah, I'll play a hero with armor for a little while and make myself feel better.
Man,
well, at least until the next set comes out.
Flesh Bag is a crutch. It like I play other heroes and other than Brute, and I'll be like, God, I wish I had a Flesh Bag to stop this.
It's such a good card. It's unbelievable.
But guys, we've been talking about 40 minutes for
well, that's what
nothing but
say.
RTN stories.
Okay. I think that's like relevant, and that's fine. I think that's something we really wanted to talk about, so we're doing what we want to do this time.
No, yeah,
for sure. I mean, we got to structure, but you know what?
You want to blast through your market minute, Noah? You want to put it off?
No, it's going to be real quick.
Okay, so we'll take a break from RTN. We'll blast through the market minute, and then we'll go through the RTN news
and the new set. We'll talk. Yeah, we'll finish it up. Okay. So I had a big thing hit me yesterday. I found out that Rudy had sold 59 cases of unlimited Monarch for a really good price, let's just say. So Monarch RF prices are going to plummet. And rightly so. I have picked Valiant Dynamo as one of our cards to talk about, just to give you guys a heads up. So right now, Valiant Dynamo, which is the warrior leg piece that comes out of Monarch, this is strictly RF. We're not going to talk about cold foils. This is at the beginning of your end phase. If you have attacked 2 or more times with weapon this turn, you may remove a -1 counter. This is pretty much, and it's battle worn. This is pretty much how Kasai and any other 2 swinging warrior, including my Hatchet's warrior or Olympia, cheat, and we gain 1 life every single turn. It doesn't matter whether the weapons hit. It just matters that you swing twice. So card's sitting at $171 right now for the rainbow foil, but the reason I picked it was because Monarch is literally about to get an influx of unlimited opened. So give it a second, take a deep breath. I promise you the price of these will plummet down. 59 cases being open at the price that people got them for. Nobody's going to hold on to them. They might return around and sell them sealed. Somebody will open the cards. Somebody will sell the cards. It's a lot of product to go out at one time. So take a deep breath. Hold on to this card for a second. It'll probably drop down to, I'd say, at least 140, 130, maybe even a little less. But I actually put it down. It'll probably drop about $40 or $50 as they keep going out, which I think will be pretty fair. Maybe it could even see a $100 floor. That would be pretty nice for an RF. Don't know yet, but you got to understand, once you pick up one, you don't need another one. So they will eventually go down. In that same boat, Phantasmal Footsteps is the illusionist equipment legs. The first time an illusionist attack you control is destroyed each turn, you may pay 1. If you do, gain 1 action point. Whenever you defend with Phantasmal Footsteps, you may pay 1. If you do, the block on it becomes 1 until the end of turn. If Phantasmal Footstep defends a non-illusionist attack with 6 or more, destroy it when the combat chain closes. So it kind of has its own phantasm on it when blocking. This is at $160 RF right now. It has gone up from about $130 that it was at throughout the season. I promise you it'll probably go back down to $130, $120. Again, a lot of Monarch product has just been put out into the world. Take a second if you want to play Prism or Kasai, let the cards go down, then pick it up. Moving on from that, the card of the week, 1 week, was Arcane Lantern. Couldn't tell you why. Just happened to be scrolling through Twitter, and it was Fab TCG that did it too. They're like, card of the week, Arcane Lantern. Next thing I know, the card shot up $40. Specifically, the cold foil extended one. Probably because there's a lot of Kanos. It's also one of the prettiest cards I've ever seen. It is now back down to about $30, but it is still up from the $18 it was. And as long as Kano is legal, as long as Kano is rolling through RTNs, and it will probably stay at about $25, $30. I think it's completely fair. I don't think you sleep on this if you do want one. Everfest is becoming ever so hard to get, no pun intended. And I promise you, the prices will only go up. If you haven't heard it, they took all the unlimited Everfest, they shredded it, they shredded all the other extra Everfest. It's done. It's not coming back out. People have responded to it. Prices on eBay have skyrocketed. It's
Might show
actually
up
up
in
to like
history pack,
65.
I guess.
It might. We don't know if there's going to be another history pack kind of 2 thing going on. I don't know if they haven't really announced
there
it.
Definitely will be. There'll be more white border sets at some point.
I hope so, James White. I know you created the white border atmosphere. We need to fill it all the way.
I'd
we
like
need
to
fill it
point out we forgot an ironic part of our RTN was that Arcano opened up a gold foil arcane lantern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the highlight of the whole event. That he flips it over and it's AB, which is just hilarious.
So how much was the cold foil one? The cold foil one was
it's $30 right now.
So that means the gold foil one's probably way up there.
The gold foil one's probably disgustingly expensive, especially because the card has actually increased in price. You gotta understand it's doubled for the cold foil. If in some cases about 3 times the price. The highest I've seen a cold foil sell for is $40, which is really good considering literally they were $15, not February 14th. You know, I love my Valentine's Day market minute type of thing, but like that's literally how recent it was. A $14 card. It's now a $40, $30 card. Prices fluctuate. Moving on to an Arcane Lantern, by the way, is literally just an offhand that has AB1. Moving on. This is a speculation for next set. It has to be. There's no other reason why, unless everybody just loves kitty cats. Crouching Tiger Marvel has been bought out to the point where it's at $40 right now for the Marvels. I actually see this going up to $60, especially if things get announced. Who knows? It's one announce away from getting bought out. I'll put it to you that way. One announcement away from getting bought out. You want to play kitty cats? You think there's going to be kitty cats? You want Marvel kitty cats? You buy them now. You buy your Marvel kitty cats.
Agreed. They're going to be...
Do not sleep on this.
Even like the simple foil ones will be probably hard to find.
It's coming out of Dynasty. Dynasty has already solidified at a very high price. It continues to have hit cards. You got to understand when Mechanologist goes back up, Dynasty goes back up again, because not only does Nitro Mechanoid come from it, BIOS Update comes from it, and so does Pulse Wave Harpoon. There are so many key cards that are critical that come out of Dynasty. You don't want to. Another card, some of the Marvels, Celestial Kimono has literally been bought out in speculation on TCG Player as well. So there are no Marvel Komodos except for the one at 125. Do not buy it. Just wait a second on that. Seriously, it's not worth it. Moving on to cards that are actually going up that have meta implications. Hold the Line has gone back up again, not to its other recent high way back when people were doing the whole Lexi thing. But it has gone up. It is now sitting at $10, $11 on normals, and I believe on foils we are up to, if I can refresh the page. Oh, well, no, they're at $13. So at $13 normal, and rainbow foils are at $15, $16 a piece. So definitely gone up. Hold the Lines were probably a $5 or $6 card not 3-4 days ago. In fact, they were. One sold for $1.50. Don't know how that's physically possible, but it did on the 23rd. And then they've been selling for $5. Well, they've doubled, and rightly so. Art of War is everywhere. A lot of Art of War. A lot of people drawing cards
and cash in
and Blood Rush
and cash in and Blood Rush. Yeah, think about it. The meta's full of it. So what Hold the Line says is if the attacking hero has drawn 2 or more cards this turn, prevent the next 3 damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn. Note that that does not have to be on the attack that the Hold the Line is defending. If the Hold the Line defends an attack for 2, it'll block equally on that 2, and you'll be floating that 3 prevent for the next time you would take damage. It's an amazing card. Think about it against Katsu too. That 3 prevent keeps them from going over with things like Breaking Scales and Ancestral Empowerment. Such a key card. The prevent's amazing.
Across multiple cards. The prevention floats down through the attack chain.
So good.
And it's a blue.
Oh, and it's a blue. And it's a D-React. Ooh, if that thing blocked static for 3, it'd be like a $150 card.
A blue block 2 that can sometimes be blue block 5 is very strong.
Next card shouldn't be surprising. It's on the same line, and it's really good against Kasai and actually pretty decent against Bolton and some of the earlier. Is That All You Got? Okay, That All You Got is a card that's on the rise again. This is from Uprising. It's Majestic. While this is defending an attack with 2 or less power, how much do those swords have? They got 2. It's free until they buff it. But let's be real, they're not going to.
I think Kasai is part of the reasons it's expensive. It's because she plays it. It's
She
good.
does.
Yes, it's good against. It's good in the mirror. It's good against ninjas, and in general, it's just a yellow D react, right? So, do you run yellow sync blow, or that's all you got? Also, Prism runs that. That's all you got, because she can struggle sometimes into lots of little hits because they'll pop all her angels. That's all you got. Allows you to block and then recover that card and just play aggro.
It is a very, very good card. The yellow, again, the yellow making it really well. Obviously, Kasai gets to use it for banish fodder. Prism gets to use it for the yellow pitching, if not using it at all. It just works well. They are up to $10, $11 right now on normals, which isn't exactly the biggest rise. They've been about a $10 card for a while, but it is on the upswing, and we've got foils actually peaking towards $20 right now. So I know that because I had foils and they sold, and I was like, wait, what? And so I had to go check. So yeah, foils are pretty much on the rise for that card. I don't know how much it really is outside of those mirrors, outside of those niche points, but I just wanted to point out that all you got is going up. Also good against Fi in some cases if he ever becomes super relevant.
I feel like just in general, cards have gotten a little bit more expensive because I think the game is just popular right now. I think heavy hitters did a lot of
explosive growth.
Things are moving in the right direction. Again, most cards are still meta dependent, and you're going to have the high highs and the low lows. Obviously, Berserk for a while went up, and then it's completely dead because nobody can make it work, or nobody wants to make it work. So you'll have those. Swing bigs are kind of on the downswing too, which is really nice because they were about $40 something for foils. They're back down to about 32, 33. Just to give you guys a heads up. I think that was
just extreme. I feel like that was just some crazy knee jerk market thing.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of things like that happen. Again, Everfest 2, I wouldn't actually be surprised if swing bigs eventually go up. It just depends on KO becoming a more solidified deck, which I think it is. Don't get me wrong. I just think KO actually has some meta problems. And while it is a very strong deck, I don't think it's an S tier contender. If you were going to make some kind of S tier, like, I think it has issues. I think it has very exploitable issues against other decks that are very top meta as well.
Might be because Kasai too. I actually side all three swing bigs out for Kasai.
Kasai is, I think, a terrible matchup for KO. And there are a lot of Kasais.
And then I think Bolton, I think I side out either one or two swing bigs because you don't want to give warriors quicken. It's just painful. It hurts so bad.
No. They'll take the quicken and pretty much two swing, and just two swinging off the two weapons to reset dynamos is already enough value.
You're also just giving Bolton a free soul, kind of.
Yep.
And he wants to block out anyway a lot of times. Anyway.
That was it for the market minute.
Speaking of Bolton, I think that's one of our week 2 stars. Let's talk about. I think it's interesting to talk about week 1 a little bit though.
Because we
brushed over it a little bit because we did. Definitely remember talking about Kano being like the big winner of week 1, and the Kano effect happened.
Yep.
Where week 2, people came in with their AB and Spell Void. He still did well. He still picked up 5 wins. The winner of week 2 though was Victor Goldmane, which is actually really surprising. I think he has a pretty high floor, and I think that's a good way to get a lot of wins when you have so many events. What do you guys think?
I think I'm going to need all of the Guardian mains in the world to band together, put down Victor, put down Bravo, and pick up Betsy. Because Betsy is the only heavy hitters hero that does not have any points on the Living Legend board yet. So somebody needs to get on that hero and get it done.
It can't be this meta though, unfortunately. And the problem is that
too many warriors.
Don't think. Yeah, there's too many. That's what I was gonna say. There's too many cards that just don't care about overpower, and Victor runs into the same problems as well. Although he has some ways around it, but Betsy paying for that effect isn't getting you anything.
Okay,
you're not getting rewarded.
The overpower on Golden Sun doesn't really matter. It's like a 2-card 11.
No. That's what I'm saying. That's why Victor is kind of away from yes, you can block it out with, the overpower doesn't matter, but Victor is winning because he's drawing an extra card off of the gold and winning the clashes.
Because he blocks great math efficiently.
Yeah, Victor has amazing math and amazing value, and he just has really big numbers, and
he's got great math. The value can be troublesome against certain matchups, right? Victor really struggles into Brutes and Bravo when they start clashing against each other.
Oh, Victor trying to clash consecutively and consistently for trounces against KO might as well just be a like a net zero.
And
like you still win your clashes. And
Levia picked up 7 wins this weekend.
Brute gaming, baby.
That's crazy. I think she picked up 1 week 1 and 7 week 2. It was I think almost every winner is on the Mansent Discord, because I kept seeing all the tournament updates from all the winners. I unfortunately didn't get to join them. Got blown out by Kano. But yeah, the Levia stands came out in force this weekend. Bolton had 8, so barely beat out Levia. Bravo had 7 wins. Dromai had 7 wins. I think Dash did less good than I thought. 3. Prism picked up 3.
Mm-hmm.
Prism's a real deck.
Dory had 6, right?
No, Dory is in the other heroes that picked up 8.
Picked up 1 win.
I think she only picked up 1.
Yep, I think Vincent picked up 2 this week.
Max picked up a win.
And Olympia did
and Olympia picked up a win.
Olympia picked up a win in impressive fashion.
Yeah, I think he completely slapped around his matches. I think he went 8-1 or something.
9-0.
9-0. Ooh. I'd love to see like what those.
I want to see that deck.
Gold is the payoff, right?
There's a deck tech out there. I remember seeing it. I'll track down the link and I'll put it in our chat. But
the crazy thing is again, Olympia is only going to get better. It's literally been confirmed that he will be spiked the next couple of sets. I don't know what they're going to give him, but I promise you, I'll find you if you want it. He said they got big things planned for Olympia, and I don't doubt it.
I want to know what kind of gem magic the Max did to avoid brutes, or if he's just got some spice, because that matchup seems terrible for Max.
Unless he's not playing Nitro. Is there a Nitro-less Max out there rolling around?
No, there's a Max list. No, he doesn't play Nitro Mechanoid. Then just play Dash.
That's what I'm saying.
Just play Dash and get a free Tekla Pounder.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe there's some crazy sauce out there where they're like, no Nitro.
Because Max doesn't have a specialization other than his weapon, right? Like,
he has Moonshot?
I believe so.
No, Moonshot is not a specialization.
It's not a specialization?
No. So I still think that's pretty impressive that Max picked up a win. Like, he didn't pick up a win during Bright Lights season. He picks up a win during the absolutely most toxic season for mechanologists that has ever existed.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think the meta is the meta is a little more open. I think it's well, maybe not open. It's a forgiving. Is that a better word for it? But open feels pretty. It's a good
Open's
meta.
Good.
It's a great meta. Like, this is actually such a good time for people to go and experiment and really try things and have a good time. But seriously,
this is a specialist meta.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is absolutely a specialist meta.
You're being rewarded for your piloting more so than you are your hero choice in this meta.
I see some people kind of criticizing a little bit because open makes it harder to like deck build. And so sometimes you just lose by your gem pairings because you have to give up some matchups to create a good deck.
Welcome to TCGs.
Well, that's not necessarily true because, like, if you think about Monarch meta, which I didn't participate in, I didn't play yet. It's like a 3-deck meta, so you can either target for the 3-deck meta, and then with the Lexi meta, it was kind of a 3-ish deck meta too. It was Bravo, Dromai, Lexi. Sure. 2 if you consider half to Dromai, half to Bravo, or something like that. So I've been enjoying it a lot, but I'm also playing a character that doesn't have bad matchups other than her own deck sabotaging itself. I don't have a single matchup that I don't have a game plan for with Levia. So
I just think that's how the game's going to be. Like, there shouldn't be a deck out there that literally is sitting at the top going, nothing can challenge me. In every single game that I've ever played TCG wise, there is a meta and there usually is some kind of anti-meta. And then there are decks that are supposed to target people playing anti-meta and people playing meta. It's supposed to be like some 3-tier. And so you're always going to have those decks. Oh, I'm targeting the meta, but the decks that aren't meta that people are going to bring because it's a totally open meta are going to beat me because I'm only targeting the meta. Then maybe you should just be targeting the meta. There are better decks that solidify and wall themselves off, but like any deck, it's going to have its triangle matchups. You're going to have things you're heavily favored against. You're probably going to have some things you necessarily don't want to play against. Me personally on Hatchatori, I don't want to see a Dromai, and I probably don't want to see a Reinhardt either. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah, you don't want to see a Reinhardt.
Like, it's a tough matchup. The cards I want to block, I don't get to block with anyway. So what's the point of having them in my deck? And I don't apply enough pressure. So I'm literally playing a losing battle. And so I know that. I know the matchups I'm literally giving up, but I give myself a pretty good field in a Guardian, and Guardian's usually really hard for Dawn Blade.
I don't think we had a Dromai at our RTN, though.
We did not, which is why
no
it was so
Reinhardts,
exciting.
Or maybe one?
There was one. Will was on
There was one
Reinhardt.
Reinhardt.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
There was one
Will.
Reinhardt.
Yeah,
there's
Will
one
was on
Reinhardt at least.
So that means you just made a meta call. You said, I have 2 bad matchups. If they don't show up, I have a great deck. And they didn't.
That's what I'm saying. And they didn't show up to an extent. Like, that's kind of the stuff you're going to have to do. You're always going to have the, like,
that's
here it
hard.
goes.
Okay, because we were talking about the meta. And when people really talk about the meta, they're talking about calling level plus events. It is going to be stressful going into Pro Tour. I bet there is some crazy jank that's going to show up because of how open the meta is. And you're going to get sat down across from them in round 1, and they're going to blow your pants off with something you've never seen before. And you're just going to be like, man, I spent hours researching and practicing and never came upon this.
Yeah, what is Kano doing with Command and Conquer in the deck? What are we doing here?
But like,
That
let's
would
be
be
real.
Kind of crazy jank.
We already know there's going to be a hefty amount of chaos, a hefty amount of Boltons. There's going to be a hefty amount of Kasai's. There's going to be plenty of Bravos and Victors. Like, I can tell you what the majority of the field's going to be. Just figure out what plays really well into that.
I think there's a couple events leading up to Pro Tour. I think that's going to give a little bit more of an indicator of what it's going to be than the RTN season. So I think the RTN season is good practice grounds.
I think RTN is going to be a lot. Is going to provide a much more clear picture. If you take these top 6 decks, that's probably going to be the meta for the Pro Tour.
With Kano floating around there being a boogeyman.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Victor,
Kano,
KO, Bolton, Bravo, Dromai, Levia. Those are probably going to be the most popular decks.
Now we're just naming everyone. Azalea.
No,
Katsu.
I'm looking at the. No, I'm talking about the classic constructed wins. All of those heroes that I just named had 7 wins or more this week. Everything else had 5 or less.
People are going to gravitate towards the decks that have higher win results. It's just natural in a game. And
man, I hope
then Bolton, KO, Victor may be the top 3 going into PT.
I hope there's just tons of Victors. I love that match. It's a lot of fun, and I'm pretty sure I'm extremely favored. So yes, let's go. Okay, we're getting we've just hit our hour, but we can't leave without talking about the big news. There's just no way that we can leave without talking about the announcement for our first set that's going to be printed in Japanese.
Oh,
and it is a clearly Eastern theme.
That's the important part.
It's a Japanese theme. We're going back to Mysteria. We're going back to the homeland of Katsu, the homeland of Ira, the homeland of Azuri.
It's the first time. It's our first visit.
Yes. Well, I mean, we had our
visit to Mysteria.
We had our little visits with Welcome to Wraith, right? Because they just bounced around a lot of different places to just bring us into the world. We got Katsu and Ira and stuff. So now we're going back, and it's going to be Calling Tokyo. Is going to be the world premiere of Mistveil Sealed. Totally bizarre. Unless there's a typo that they still haven't fixed, you get 8 packs to make a deck. What does that mean? That means it's going to be really hard to make a real deck of 30 cards with 8 packs. And by the way, if you're not familiar with sealed events you usually get 4 or 6. Outsiders
4 was Bright Lights.
Outsiders Team Sealed.
Everything else is 6.
Outsiders Team Sealed gave you 8 packs. You were
Wasn't,
expected to make 3 decks out of 8 packs in Team Sealed, and they're giving you 8 packs per person.
Was it Heavy Hitters 5 packs for sealed, or was it 6?
It was 6.
That was only. Was it 6?
Outsiders was 6.
Outsiders was 6. Heavy Hitters was 6. Bright Lights was 4 because it was a single class set.
Right.
Well, it is going to be a talented set.
There will be at least
so that
one.
may have something to do. That may have something to do with the amount of packs that we're
Are ice cards coming back? Let's go.
God, no.
Yes.
Unless we get an Ice Ninja. Oh.
Dude, I want ice cards to come back.
Give me Kadachis and Frostbites.
I want an Ice Wizard, but I don't want someone that just creates Frostbites for free off of nothing. Give us
I do.
something more
Give it
fun.
the ninja. Give the ninja more toys.
Okay,
We're going to
get a water ninja. We're going to get another ice wizard. We're going to get
No.
we're going to get an earth guardian, and we're going to get a
Wait a minute.
we're going to get a lightning assassin. That's my guess. We're going like crazy here.
No.
Assassin.
What we think the classes are going to be? We think it's going to be illusionist. It's going to be ninja, of course. Of course, it's going to be ninja, and I could not be more excited. And then let's see, and assassin.
I think it's going to be a
illusionist, assassin, and ninjas.
I think there's going to be more than. I think there's going to be at least 4
I think
classes.
it's going to be 3.
The thing that points me toward wizard is because they specifically said the word waning moon in the little teaser thing. And I don't want to spell it out.
Their teasers are on the nose every time.
Yeah.
The city of bright lights. So he just says.
And there's always like card names weaved into these things that we don't know about until after the fact.
Yeah.
So James White is a troll, man. I love him to death. James White is a troll.
We get an illusionist ninja though, for sure. We do. The reason is I think actually Crouching Tigers have this weird illusionist kind of thing. You create them like an illusionist would create. So I feel like an illusionist ninja that is focusing on kitty cats kind of makes sense.
Oh.
I actually think it makes
total sense. So that'd be the first dual class? I don't think that's going to happen. But it would be cool.
Give me it. Just let me have it.
I'll go ahead and say it. I'll go ahead and tell you guys now. My new main hero is coming out in Part the Misveil.
Yeah, it's going to be a water ninja.
I love Katsu, but
I've already
my
told
new
you,
main is coming out.
Or what if Katsu gets a demi-hero?
Ooh.
Katsu, star of the show.
Katsu.
I need an Ira.
Yes.
I know she's dead apparently in lore. Well, I didn't know that, but now I do. But I need some kind of Ira, please. Like I need Ira. I want an adult Ira. I want somebody out there to
wandering disciple.
Oh yeah, man, Benji's got to grow up, right?
We could get an upgrade to Benji.
Ooh. Okay, I'll settle for that, James White. No Ira. I want adult Benji, and then I'll sell out.
Brian,
and play one
get
of
on
those.
this. Benji, wandering disciple. Brian Gottlieb,
dude.
get on this.
I think
I know it's all printed already, but make it happen, man.
I think Benji's already so cool. And if there was
the art's going to be gorgeous too, because I'm sure they're going to appeal to
I cannot wait to see the Marvels.
The target audience is going to be Japanese players because they're trying to get like Japanese is either the first or the second biggest TCG market in the world. I think it's first.
I think it's United States being the first. Second. It's like the homeland of TCGs. So
if we make the card game big in Japan, the game will get bigger, and that's better for everyone.
It's better for everybody. Oh yeah,
this is going to be a year of explosive growth.
Short term, maybe the card prices will go up, but then they'll be able to print more. Card prices will go down.
This is going to be amazing.
This is already shaping up to be one of the best years that the game has had.
I mean, Heavy Hitters was a good start.
I don't know.
And James said that this is peak TCG design.
I don't know if they bring back ice. Sorry, go.
Bring back ice. I like ice.
No. James White literally said, Part the Misveil is the set that he is the most proud of out of the 13 sets that they have produced so far. This is going to be amazing, and I am all in on Part the Misveil. I am saving every penny I can between now and then. I'm gonna go deep on this set.
By the way, I think it releases.
I cannot wait.
I think it releases 2 weeks before Nats. That's gonna be fun.
Ooh.
Okay, we need to wrap up because I need to go. So
okay,
let's sail on out of here. Next week I want to talk about Pro Tour meta because I think it's March. So
yeah, we're getting about that time.
We should do one of those fancy tier lists everybody does because it's really fun and everybody loves tier lists.
I'm just gonna throw almost all the heroes in this big blob of A.
Yeah,
that's about right.
That's even better because then people are gonna be like, my hero's relevant. I'm like, yes, it technically is. Trust me, it really is. Like this isn't some troll. They're all relevant except you, Arachne. I'm sorry.
What? No, our armories have been crushed by Arachne for several weeks.
Not anymore. Dang
it, Trevor.
You give me that Arachne now on hatchets. I'll take it. I'll take it all the way to the end.
Okay. All right. So we got anything else that we want to just absolutely have to talk about this week?
I don't think so.
All right, Noah, where can everybody find you, buddy?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter and twitch.tv/SalutSoHeavy.
I'm at What the System Fab on Twitter, and you can find me anywhere that says What the System. I'm mainly in the Card Guys Discord and the Mansant Discord.
And I am Draco Hominus 87 on Twitter, Discord, and just about any other social media you want to try to look me up on. Also known as Donnie K on fabric.gg, where I write several different article series. My next one is going to be coming out this Friday. It's going to be another installment in the UPF Brew series, and this week I took a look at Betsy. So if you're interested in what Betsy can do in UPF, give it a look. Otherwise, thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
Thank you, patrons. We love you. And discard your cards. I didn't have to do it this week at RTN, but you might have to, and do it. It's proper.